Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video of Niab. Really want this location in the main series. Please, Tepe, just shove it in there. We can make it work, alright? I'm just, I'm just a little bit miffed that it's not in there. But, yeah, welcome back to another video like that. Today's topic, well, as you can clearly see by the title, is about Gusteko in ReZero. Now, you might be thinking, hey, Nia, I watched your 3-hour-long Arc 6 review and you actually mentioned this place a decent bit in there, along with a little bit in the Who Will Defeat Capella video. You make a very fair point. Here's the thing. I did bring it up in both those videos. However, I felt like I should go more into this because there's two problems really with both of those videos, right? One problem with the Arc 6 video being that it was 3 hours long, so I don't know, how much people are going to watch of that, right? If you watch the whole thing, great, I'd actually very much appreciate that. But not everybody's going to sit through that, and I don't blame them. It's a 3-hour long review where I'm standing there talking about Arc 6, so, I can't really blame you if you didn't watch that whole thing. But also part of that is because the video was so long, I didn't necessarily go into this as much as I wanted to, and I also didn't have all the info that I have now because of some extra little bits in there that I want to talk about, along with some stuff relating to, the current arc type of situation with Arc 7 that I think could possibly work into this. Therefore, I feel like it's better to do this. And with the Capella video, that one was very simple, although I will bring it up again just to reiterate some points and also go more into certain details that I feel need to be explained. But I am very excited to talk about Gusteko because this is a place that we have just all these interesting details about, but we never actually learn anything about it, and that's the thing that I kind of hate, right? Like, when it's first brought up in Arc 4, right, via Elsa, it is this location that, I guess now we know about and everything, right? This is where she grew up and all this shit. But then as time goes on and we learn more and more about it and we get side stories and shit like that that relate to, her or somebody else that could possibly lead into that, right, into the location, we learn more. But we don't really see much. We don't get to hear about much. Anything like that. It's weird. We're getting a whole lot, but we're also getting blue-balled at the same time, and it kind of sucks, because this is such an interesting fucking location. If we're being real, I think it's the only one we don't know about right now, really, because we're learning about Vollachia. We learned about, the big old water city of Priestella, and, yeah, we already know about Lugnica, so this is the last place left. So the first section I kind of want to talk about here is this character that we know about of the Crazed Prince. From what I know, we have, no info on him, really. We don't know what he looks like. We know some things about him, very little, but some. And it's kind of weird, right? Because if I remember correctly, this character is brought up, during conversations related to, Reinhardt and Cecilis and all this shit. So it's weird that these two are brought up. And then also this guy we don't know about. It's odd to me, but it's I want to know more, obviously, because of that, right? This is a character who is being compared to two really fucking good swordsmen in the series. And it is somebody who, from what we can tell, via his name and everything, is this higher up person there. I really want to know more about that, because, man, you can't just make a character like that and then just do nothing. I mean, I guess if he really feels like it, Tepe could do that, but it's just it's such a kick to the balls, man. Making this character, calling him the Crazed Prince at that, right? Giving them this type of nickname that we don't know about, and just also putting him against those two in terms of like ranking overall, right? Like possibly a power or, you know, swordsmanship, all that, whatever it may be. It's weird, really weird to do that and then just do nothing with him. I kind of want to see more about him, and you know, if we can get something like this, right, via an EX novel or a main arc, it'd be kind of nice, because then we can actually find out more about him, what he's like, how skilled he may be, right? It's something interesting that I definitely want to know more about, because who the fuck is this character, essentially? Who is this man? Is he the prince of the whole area? I mean, I think he is, but maybe, you know, Prince is some sort of false type of nickname? Probably not, but I mean, you know, it could be. Where's the crazy part in that? Then again, this location's known for having some crazy people, but I mean, where's the crazy in them? We're gonna learn about that, right? So, you know, I feel like he should definitely be more developed on, and, you know, whether it's one of the two formats I mentioned, I would like to see more about him. I think we gotta get some more out of him, because it's just weird to have him in this area and then know nothing. Another reason why I feel like we need to go to this location is the fact that this area seems to have this unspoken law where, you know, the rich thrive and the poor get to eat shit, essentially. And obviously that can happen in a way in any area, but it especially seems that way here, where with EX1 we met a character, a very like small meeting really, because it was only for about, I don't know, 20 pages, something, whatever it may have been. But there's something here that I feel like was almost a subtle detail in a way that I want to talk about. We meet a character who is set to be like some sort of royalty figure in Gusteco or some shit like that. But something to note about them is they're rather big, and you know, they have a large coat on and everything, like all sorts of shit like that, right? They look very warm, which you might be thinking, really weird detail to focus on. Here's the thing. This is an area that is, you know, completely snowy, all that shit, like wintry type of area. Now, let's go to a certain character's backstory that we know about from the same area, and I think you might be able to see where I'm getting at with this. Now, obviously, this makes sense. Somebody who's poor isn't going to be able to afford clothes or anything like that, right? Especially that type of poor. But it's interesting to me that it's like, oh, here's all these royalty type of people, and they get to be like higher up on this chart. And then, you know, these poor people, essentially like, you know, the one we've met became a serial killer. There's another one that we know about thanks to Arc 6, you know, with Lie and all that because of the powers they had and everything. That guy, I think, was also a serial killer. It's interesting to me. It feels very much like it's showing this dynamic almost to, yeah, here's the royalty, and then here's the people who are just doing anything to survive. And I mean, part of the backstory is, you know, you kind of see more about that and everything. But it's interesting. I want to learn more about this, and I think this actually would be the perfect setting for an arc. Because now it creates this thing of, if they're not in the area where, you know, all the royalty is and everything, what the fuck is going to happen to the main cast, right? Like, this could be a very dangerous area for them, and that's another thing, right? This area, just from the amount of killers we know and all this shit, and the, like, horrible shit that's gone down, that we've heard bits and pieces of, it's the perfect area for the main cast to go and have this very tense and, like, horrific type of scenario to it. Another reason that, like, you know, adds on to that, we'll get to, because, you know, there's obviously a certain character that we have to talk about that I think would make for a good battle against in this location, and possibly their death. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Just give it a moment. So believe it or not, this next section might be a bit out of nowhere, because, I don't know, we do know a decent bit about this character, but I'd actually almost want to learn more about Elsa in a way. Now, yes, I know she has a decent bit of side stories and shit that go into certain details that have happened and everything, right? But even though she's a very simple character where we have this simple backstory, but for the most part, yeah, she's an assassin, a serial killer, all this shit, right? She enjoys doing her job, all that. Even though she's a very simple character, I would actually like to learn more about her. I want to learn about stuff like possible affiliates she may have, or, you know, family members and shit like that. And yes, I know the obvious thing of she was abandoned as a child, but, you know, maybe we could learn more about the parents she had and shit like that, or other family members that we don't even know about, you know, stuff like that. I definitely want to learn more about her, especially because, you know, I have the other two assassin members on my top 10, and it almost feels a little bit odd to not have her in there, right? I mean, obviously I would need a decent bit, you know, in terms of learning more and everything, right? I'd have to see a whole lot in terms of maybe like more of her backstory, some shit like that, things related to her. It would take a decent bit. But hey, who knows? It also just, once again, feels kind of odd have the other two. I mean, like Maylee's up there, Capella's up there, but then, you know, she doesn't get to be up there. Although my brother does have her in his top 10, albeit he's only started Arc 5 and barely into it at this point. So, yeah, I mean, I guess it's natural in a way to have somebody like that in there. But, you know, I like it. Alright, now we get to talk about the character that, once again, I have to state that I am in no way obsessed with or anything like that. I'm really not. I just really like this villain, even though we don't have very much. You know, the stuff that she's done and everything makes her a great fucking villain, and arguably my favorite of this series. It's time to talk about Capella. So I'm going to reiterate some points just very quickly, just to get them out of the way and to inform you all, if you don't know already, some of the stuff we've said in the past. So let's just get into that. Yes, I think that this would be the perfect location for Capella to have a fight in. More so specifically against somebody possibly like Maylee, right? Maylee would be great for that, because this is a person who has, you know, constantly abused her and shit, and it would be great to see her have a fight with Capella, especially in a location like this, which has affiliations with the person that Maylee cared about, who is now dead. Also, part of that is, this is just a really good location overall for Capella to essentially fuck with Maylee and everything like that, right? Because this is where Elsa grew up, all that, right? Should be obvious from that. Okay, now, with those points out of the way, let's go further into this. So, part of this whole thing that I think would be a great fight area against Capella, as well as, you know, a great area for her to actually have some interactions in, is more so just the whole thing of, we've kind of explored pretty much everywhere by now, and while that may not be a bad thing, right, it does lead into the point of, well, it'd be interesting to have specific villains in specific areas and stuff like that for a fight to occur, right? This is a very fitting location because of the affiliations that Capella has. Now, that said, yes, of course, also, you know, Kingdom of Lugnica would also be pretty fucking perfect because of who she is. But, you know, Capella's most likely not going to live, I assume, till, like, the end of the series, or some shit like that. Like, I don't even expect her to be there for the last 2 arcs, I would argue, right? So, for something like Arc 8 or Arc 9, some shit like that, right? for her to have her final battle and then die, some shit like that, right? For her to be the villain of the arc. I think this would be the right area to go with, because I feel like Lugnica is, you know, just going to be the general place where everything goes down in the end, right? So having somewhere like this be a location to have a fight against Capella, to have all these interactions, everything like that, I feel like it works out pretty well. Because, I mean, yeah, well, like, where else are we going to go that would make it feel, you know, more unique, but also would have a proper tie-in to the character? I don't really feel like there would be many other locations other than here. I mean, I guess you could say, like, well, she could show up in Vollachia. It's like, yeah, sure, but the only affiliation she would have there is the fact that, yeah, they have dragons, right? They can ride dragons, that's about it, right? I guess she could disguise as one or some shit, but really she doesn't have much of a connection there. At least we barely know of any. So, you know, I feel like this would be the optimal location to actually have these interactions and this fight with her. Now, part of this whole thing that I feel like would tie it all in perfectly to make a good arc is the fact that, you know, with Vollachia right now, right, with Arc 7 in Vollachia, I feel as though that this will lead into, you know, the last arc or last two arcs or whatever it may be, right? What I mean with that is more so the idea that, you know, by the end of Arc 7, we may get to the point where Vincent is like, oh wow, you guys are from Lugnica, you know what? We'll be a little bit nice or something thanks to all you helping out. Perhaps we'll help you out if, you know, there's some big threat or something like that, right? Like, almost similar to what happened with the third arc, where, you know, people like Krush mentioned, hey, I'm not gonna forget what you did, and if you need help, we're here, right? Like, shit like that. It would almost be similar to that, and it could work out pretty damn well. It's also like, you know, I don't feel like we're gonna get some sad type of end to this arc or something like that, or just some, like, neutral type of thing. I feel like we're gonna get a proper happy ending overall with Arc 7, right? It'll, like, wrap up in such a way where everything kind of works out. There might be, like, a cliffhanger or two, because, you know, Tepe likes to do that with the arcs. But I feel like there could be something that could be worked on with it, and as a result, we got a good outcome with it. Vincent, the people in Vollachia, all that, are willing to help out with the main crew. Now, this of course leads into Gusteco. We could have the exact same scenario with that, right? Shit goes down there, they help out. Hey, now some of the people there, or possibly all of them, or however many, right, are willing to now help out the main crew with the stuff that will happen for the last 2 arcs, 3 arcs, whatever it may be, right? I feel like with something like this, we could actually get a nice tie-in where it's almost like all of these fucking, like, cities at once facing whatever the larger threat will be, right? And I like that a lot. I like that idea a lot. Just everybody coming in. There's a game I could actually compare it to almost. Yakuza 5. Really weird example. And I won't go into too much in case anybody, I don't know, is playing through it or plans on playing through it or anything like that. But there is something similar to that in there, in a way, right? There's something similar to that, and I think it could work out similar to it, and it would be pretty fucking awesome to see. I like the idea of that a whole lot. Overall, that's my thoughts and what I really want to see out of Gusteco if we really can. I mean, there's a chance we get something out of it, even though Tepe has said he doesn't really want to do anything with it, with the main, you know, line of the series. I'm pretty sure he also said the same with Vollachia, and then he made EX4 and realized, wow, I made a lot of cool characters here. I don't want to let them go to waste, and then proceeded to make an arc out of it, right? There's a chance we get this as an actual arc. If not, that's whatever. I mean, I do hope for an EX novel at the very least out of it, but, you know, I can only hope. But I definitely want to learn more about Gusteco, because it's somewhere that's really interesting, and, like, you know, we know so little, but there's so much cool shit we keep hearing about or keep seeing, or, like, these people we're learning about, in a way, via names, whatever they look like, right? All this shit that it's just, man, I want to know. I want to know more about that. But that's about it for this video. I guess random last few notes to mention. I feel like I should mention this first, actually. About 5 or 10 minutes before recording this video, it should be known by now, or maybe not known, but more so, I've mentioned certain things like this in the past, and I feel like some people may know. I am somebody who likes to indulge sometimes into some gacha games. I rarely do spend money on them, but I sometimes just like to engage into them, more so if they're fun, right? I more so like to play them if they're fun. For example, I know with the Arc 5 video, I mentioned Dokkan. I don't play it anymore, but I did mention it there and everything. Stuff like that, where it's like, I'll play them, and some I've quit just because they aren't fun, for example. But, I play a few here and there. Now, the ReZero ones, or rather the original big one, never really interested me. I don't know, it's just not my style, and I don't know, visually, from like a general standpoint, I didn't enjoy it too much. The art looks great, like the proper art looks great. Actual, I guess combat-wise, or whatever you want to say, But, what I will say is the recent one, or I guess not really recent, because from what I understand, it was released in China before, and now it's only gotten a JP release, essentially. But the Infinity Gacha, whatever it may be, right? That one. I started playing it, because I'm like, you know what? I like RPGs. This game looks pretty good. The art looks fantastic, and models are pretty good, right? They look pretty damn nice. Cinematics could be better, but you know what? This is the game starting off. I don't know what it will look like with later units, but it might look fantastic, and if it does, great. It looks okay for now in terms of cinematics, but you know what? That's fine. Overall art looks great, models look great, it's fun. I'm having fun. I have a few minor problems, but that's about it. Anyways, the main point of this is before I, started this video, about 5 or 10 minutes before, I was doing my logins just because I'm like, you know what? I'm remembering that I have to do a ReZero video, and by proxy, it's making me remember I gotta, get my logins on that. Get my logins, get a ticket, right? Little summon tickets that they give out occasionally, where you can get all that shit. But I get a summon ticket, and I'm like, you know what? The Halloween units right now are pretty good. I'm gonna try and see if I can pull that Amelia that's available. And I use that summon ticket, and I get a 5-star. I'm like, oh shit, who am I gonna get? I wonder if it's Amelia, or maybe one of the 5-stars I don't have. I don't have a few, but you know what? Like, it'd be neat to get one of those. In fact, one of those is really fucking good, and I would like to get them. And, well, the one that's really good, I just so happened to pull. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is look at the title of this video again, and, certain things it's associated with. Take a wild guess at who I pulled before making this fucking video. I'm not even gonna say it. Just put it right into your brain and just keep it there. Yeah, so that was pretty fitting. But yeah, other than that, I have a reaction channel now. That's actually where I will put, possible future Arc 5, Arc 6, stuff like that, reactions in terms of watching that stuff whenever it comes out, right? Whenever it gets a new season, that's where we will put it. Right now it just has Bleach. I'm actually working on some videos of me and some buddies of mine watching Breaking Bad, right? More so just highlights of it. I'm not going to put the actual whole thing there, because those would be some long-ass videos. But just some highlights of it, right? Some nice snippets of our reactions and shit like that. Funny moments, more tense moments, all that. That's going to be up there as well. I might even watch Mob Psycho on there, right? Because I do like Mob Psycho a decent bit, and I do want to see the new season. I'm waiting till the whole thing's out, but when the whole thing's out, I might do a reaction to it. Might, don't hold me to that. And then I did mention actually on my community post that I was going to do Chainsaw Man, despite already reading it, or at least part 1 wise already reading it. I don't know if I will do that, But when me and my buddies get around to it, then yeah, I'll do it with, you know, me and them all reacting to it, except I will know shit and they will be going into it blind. But that'll happen a lot with that, you know, channel. And there might be times where I'm going in blind and one of them knows about something, you know, stuff like that. That'll happen. But yeah, it's there if you feel free to check it out. But right now it's just Bleach stuff on there. I do really love Bleach, so I'm having fun with those videos. But yeah, and also if you haven't already, please do me a favor, like I really mean it. The tournament poll that I always mention, please vote on it. If you've already voted on it, that's fine. But, you know, I do want to get as many votes in as possible. And also, be sure to check every single like name on there. Please do not just choose the obvious character who's there, who you could pick, right? That relates to this series. Just consider every option. I will say, I am very happy with the votes that I've seen. It seems like people have actually considered the options from what I can tell, so I do really appreciate that, right? It's fine if you want to vote on that character, just, you know, I do want you to consider everything like that. But I do appreciate everybody who was considering stuff, because I noticed some other characters just randomly going up in, like, votes, so that I really appreciate. It means a lot that, you know, overall we can actually have a general balance, even if one character is winning overall. But still, that's fine. But yeah, tourney poll, we actually don't have much left on it in terms of time, because it ends in late November. And it is currently late October. Like, very late October. So, yeah, we don't got a whole lot of time left. That tourney poll has about a month. So, I highly recommend, you know, go on that, vote. And yeah, and we'll see who gets to be the last character. But, yeah, overall, that's about it. I will have, you know, some big videos out soon. I got that Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter video I'm trying to work on, and I think that'll be the next proper big video out on the channel. Then after that, we got the reading Arc 4 stuff, which yeah, I'm sure a decent bit of you are excited for. And yeah, then after that, we'll have some other things planned. I've already got everything, you know, planned out, but I'll keep some surprises here and there. I mean, I even have some smaller videos in there that I don't necessarily want to go into, just as a surprise, right? But overall, yeah, we got the Yu Yu Hakusho video and Hunter x Hunter coming, and then Arc 4. And I mean, that Arc 4 one's going to be a bit of a journey for me, because it's going to be reading a web novel, and these are events I already know. So I'm going to try and get in as much as I can per day. But it might be tough, because this is something that isn't new to me. So I'll see how I overall jive with it and everything. Hopefully it goes well. I absolutely am going to try to get it out before the end of the year. I would like to get that video along with another Get Into just done before the end of the year, right? That's my plan. But, you know, if we really can't do the Get Into, then I'm going to at the very least get the Arc 4 video done. But yeah, that's about it. So, thank you all for watching. And, yeah, I'll see you all next time.